The desperate signal, the signal from beyond the human patrol ship Resilience, drifted silently through the outer rim of Terran space, her dark hull almost invisible against the star-filled void. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, watching the endless expanse through the main viewport. Her weathered hands clasped behind her back, she carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who had spent 20 years defending humanity's borders. The Resilience was not the largest ship in the human defense fleet, but she was fast and well-armed. More importantly, her crew was experienced. They had fought pirates, smugglers, and the occasional aggressive alien probe. But today felt different. The space around them seemed too quiet, too empty. Lieutenant Marcus Torres sat at the communications station, his dark eyes focused on the array of screens before him. The young officer had joined the crew 6 months ago, fresh from the academy on Mars. His specialty was xenolinguistics, though he had never expected to use those skills on a routine patrol. "Captain," Torres called out, his voice cutting through the bridge's quiet hum. "I'm picking up something strange on the long-range sensors." Chen turned toward him, her gray eyes sharp. "Define strange, Lieutenant." Torres frowned at his display, adjusting the controls. "It's a transmission, but not on any frequency we normally monitor. The pattern is complex, almost like music, but there's an underlying structure that suggests language." "Origin?" Chen asked, moving to stand behind his station. "That's the strange part, ma'am. It's coming from outside the Galactic Federation's mapped territories. Way outside. The signal has been traveling for at least 3 months, maybe longer." Dr. Elena Vasquez emerged from the ship's small laboratory, her curly brown hair tied back in a practical ponytail. As the Resilience's xenobiologist, she had studied dozens of alien species, though few had been willing to communicate with humans directly. The Galactic Federation had made sure of that. "Did someone say alien transmission?" she asked, her eyes lighting up with curiosity. Chen nodded. "Torres picked up something unusual. Think you can make sense of it?" Vasquez hurried to a secondary station, her fingers dancing over the controls as she accessed the ship's linguistic databases. For several minutes, the bridge was silent except for the soft beeping of computers and the distant hum of the ship's engines. "This is incredible," Vasquez whispered, her voice filled with awe. "The mathematical structure underlying this language is unlike anything in our databases. It's based on harmonic frequencies, rather than traditional phonemes. Whoever sent this thinks in terms of resonance and vibration." "Can you translate it?" Chen asked. "Give me a few hours," Vasquez replied, already lost in her work. The Kethamori's plea 3 hours later, the bridge crew gathered around Vasquez's station as she prepared to play the translated message. The xenobiologist's face was pale, her usual enthusiasm replaced by something that looked like fear. "Before I play this," she began, "you need to understand what we're dealing with. The species that sent this call themselves the Kethamori. Based on linguistic patterns, they're likely crystalline beings, possibly silicon-based rather than carbon-based like us. Their entire communication system is built around harmonic resonance." Chen crossed her arms. "And the message?" Vasquez activated the translation program. A melodic, almost musical voice filled the bridge, speaking in clear but strangely accented English. "To any who can hear this transmission, we are the Kethamori of the world Veltar. Our crystalline cities once sang with the harmony of 10 billion voices. Now only terror remains. The ancient enemy has returned. The devourer swarm moves through our system, consuming our moons, our stations, our people. We have sent desperate pleas to the Galactic Federation for assistance, but they have declared our world strategically insignificant and abandoned us to our fate." The voice paused, and they could hear what sounded like distant explosions or impacts. "We know the stories told about your species. The other races call you Deathworlders, born on a planet of violence and death. They say you are unpredictable, dangerous, that your evolution on Terra has made you natural killers. But the same stories say that humans protect those who cannot protect themselves. If these tales are true, if there is honor among the children of Terra, please, we are dying, our world is being devoured, help us." The message ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Torres was the first to speak. The Devourer Swarm? I've heard that name before. Vasquez nodded grimly. Ancient machine intelligence. They appeared in this galaxy about 50,000 years ago, consuming entire star systems before vanishing into deep space. Most species thought they were extinct. Apparently not, Chen said quietly. She turned to her navigation officer. Mr. Park, how far is Veltar from our position? Lieutenant James Park consulted his charts. Approximately 47 light-years, Captain. Outside Federation space in what they call the empty quarter. Chen stared at the star map for a long moment. The empty quarter was vast, largely unexplored and officially off-limits to human vessels. The Federation had made it clear that humanity was to stay within its designated borders. Captain, Torres said carefully, the Federation specifically forbids independent human action outside our territory. If we respond to this distress call, I'm aware of Federation policy, Lieutenant, Chen replied sharply. Then her voice softened. But I'm also aware of human policy. We don't abandon people who need help. She activated the ship's intercom. All hands, this is the captain. Set course for the Veltar system, maximum speed. We have a rescue operation to conduct. The fleet assembles within 6 hours of receiving the Kethmori transmission. The Resilience had been joined by 11 other human vessels. The response had been swift and unanimous. When Captain Chen had sent the distressed call to Earth Command, every available ship in the sector had volunteered to join the mission. The flagship of this impromptu fleet was the heavy cruiser Indomitable, commanded by Admiral Rebecca Stone. Stone was a legend in the Human Defense Force, having fought in the border wars and the pirate suppression campaigns. Her silver hair was cropped short in military fashion, and her pale blue eyes held the kind of hardness that came from making life-and-death decisions for 30 years. Chen found herself in the Indomitable's briefing room, surrounded by the captains of the other vessels. The holographic display at the center of the table showed the Veltar system, with the positions of the Devourer swarm vessels marked in ominous red. Intelligence reports from our long-range scouts paint a grim picture. Admiral Stone began, her voice carrying the authority of command. 3 Devourer vessels have taken up position around Veltar. Each one is approximately 2 kilometers long and heavily armed with energy weapons we've never encountered before. Captain David Murphy of the destroyer Relentless leaned forward. What do we know about their tactics? They're methodical, replied Commander Lisa Zhang from the Intelligence Division. The Devourers strip a planet layer by layer, converting all matter into energy to fuel their operations. They start with the outer atmosphere, then the oceans, then the crust. The process takes about 72 hours for a planet the size of Veltar. How long do the Kethmori have? Chen asked. Zhang consulted her tablet. Based on the timestamp of their transmission and our estimated travel time, we'll arrive with perhaps 18 hours to spare, maybe less. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They were racing against time to save an entire civilization. Admiral Stone stood, her hands pressed against the table. Gentlemen, ladies, I won't lie to you. This mission is outside our jurisdiction, against Federation law and tactically suicidal. The Devourer swarm has destroyed civilizations that were far more advanced than humanity. She paused, meeting the eyes of each captain in turn. But they've never faced humans before. Every species in this galaxy evolved on garden worlds, with gentle gravity and peaceful environments. They don't understand what it means to come from a planet that actively tries to kill you every day. They don't understand that we've spent our entire evolutionary history as both predator and prey. Stone activated another hologram, showing the tactical formation for their approach to Veltar. We're going to hit them fast and hard, using every trick we've learned from centuries of warfare on Terra. We'll use our ship's superior maneuverability, our weapons targeting systems, and most importantly, our ability to think creatively under pressure. Captain Elena Rodriguez of the corvette Swift Strike raised her hand. Admiral, what about the Federation's response to this mission? Stone's smile was cold. The Federation Council is undoubtedly aware of our movement by now. They'll demand explanations, threaten sanctions, and generally waste time with bureaucracy while an entire species dies. By the time they organize a response, we'll either have succeeded or we'll be dead. Either way, it won't matter. She looked around the room once more. Any captain who wants to withdraw may do so now with no questions asked and no judgment. Not a single officer moved. Then let's go save some aliens, Stone said. Journey through the void. The human fleet moved through hyperspace like a pack of predators hunting across an endless plain. 12 ships, carrying humanity's most experienced crews, raced toward a world they had never seen to save a species they had never met. On the bridge of the Resilience, Dr. Vasquez worked tirelessly to decode more Kethemori transmissions. She had managed to establish basic linguistic protocols and was beginning to understand the alien mindset. They're artists, she explained to Captain Chen during one of their planning sessions. Their entire civilization is built around harmonic resonance. Their cities are essentially massive musical instruments. Their technology works through precise frequency manipulation. Even their reproduction involves harmonic coupling between individuals. Chen studied the translated messages on her screen. That explains why they called for help using musical patterns, but it also suggests they're completely unprepared for military conflict. Exactly, Vasquez agreed. The Kethemori have never developed weapons of war. Their concept of competition involves creating more beautiful harmonies than their rivals. They literally cannot comprehend the kind of destruction the Devourer swarm represents. Torres looked up from his station. That makes them perfect victims. The Devourers probably chose Veltar specifically because the inhabitants couldn't fight back, which is where we come in, Chen said grimly. As the fleet approached the edge of the Veltar system, long-range sensors began providing detailed intelligence about the enemy. The 3 Devourer vessels were enormous, their dark hulls covered in weapon emplacements and sensor arrays. They moved with mechanical precision around Veltar, their harvesting beams stripping away the planet's outer atmosphere in precisely calculated patterns. Admiral Stone's voice crackled through the communications system, reaching every ship in the fleet. All vessels, this is Stone. We are about to engage an enemy that has terrorized this galaxy for 50,000 years. They are older than human civilization, more advanced than our technology, and utterly ruthless in their methods. She paused, and Chen could imagine the Admiral's steel-gray eyes surveying her command. But they have never fought humans before. They don't know that we've spent our entire existence fighting against impossible odds. They don't know that we've turned warfare into an art form, that we've made peace with violence in ways that no other species can understand. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Veltar system, their ship's engines glowing blue against the darkness. Today, Admiral Stone continued, we show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do when innocent people are threatened. All ships, attack formation Alpha. Let's go hunting. The Deathworlder response first contact with terror. The crystalline cities of Veltar sang their death song as the Devourer swarm continued their methodical harvest. Elder Zeothara pressed her translucent form against the viewing crystal of the deep sanctuary, watching helplessly as another floating district was consumed by the terrible machines above. The Kethemori had built their civilization in the upper atmosphere of their gas giant world, their crystalline structures floating in the dense mineral-rich clouds. For 10,000 years, their cities had danced through the sky, their movements creating planet-wide symphonies that could be heard from space. Now, those same cities were being torn apart, their harmonic screams echoing through dimensions the Kethemori had never known existed. Elder, whispered Yithmoran, a younger Kethemori whose crystalline form flickered with fear patterns. The deep sensors detect something approaching from beyond the system edge. Zethara's internal light pulsed with fading hope. More Federation ships? No, Elder. The energy signatures are different. Unknown configuration. They're moving, aggressively. Through her connection to the planetary harmony network, Zethara felt a tremor of possibility. Could it be? Had their desperate message actually reached someone willing to help? High above them, the massive form of Devourer Prime detected the approaching vessels and paused in its consumption of a crystal city. The ancient machine intelligence had harvested 1,000 worlds over 50 millennia. It had encountered every known form of resistance, from energy weapons to psychic assaults, to reality-warping technologies. All had failed before its inexorable advance. These new ships were small, primitive by galactic standards, and few in number. The machine calculated their destruction would require exactly 4.7 seconds of focused fire. It began adjusting its weapon, arrays. It had never encountered humans before. The pack attacks. Admiral Stone watched the tactical display as her fleet spread into attack formation. The 3 Devourer vessels hung in Veltar's atmosphere like metallic parasites, their harvesting beams creating wounds in the planet's gaseous surface that glowed with unnatural light. "All ships, execute Plan Mongoose," she commanded. Plan Mongoose was a human innovation, developed during the border wars against the Centauri pirates. Instead of engaging in the orderly, predictable combat favored by most galactic species, human ships would attack from multiple vectors simultaneously, using their superior maneuverability to create chaos and confusion. The Indomitable led the charge, her weapons systems powering up as she dove toward the largest Devourer vessel. Behind her, the fleet scattered like a pack of wolves, each ship taking a different approach angle. Captain Chen gripped the arms of her command chair as the Resilience rolled into an attack vector that would have been impossible for any non-human crew to survive. The G-forces pressed her into her seat, but years of training on Terra's high-gravity training grounds had prepared her for this moment. "Targeting systems locked on Devourer 2, reported Lieutenant Park, his voice steady despite the tremendous forces acting on his body. "Fire at will," Chen commanded. The human ships opened fire simultaneously, their plasma cannons and missile systems creating a deadly light show against the darkness of space. The Devourer vessels, caught off guard by the unconventional attack pattern, were slow to respond. Devourer Prime's ancient intelligence processed this new data with something approaching surprise. These vessels moved in ways that defied tactical logic, their attack patterns chaotic, yet effective. More concerning, their weapons seemed specifically designed to penetrate the energy shields that had protected Devourer vessels for millennia. The machine began adapting its defenses, but the humans were already changing their tactics. Chaos and adaptation. Dr. Vasquez monitored the battle from the Resilience's sensor station, her scientific mind cataloging every aspect of the enemy's response patterns. She had spent the journey to Veltar analyzing every scrap of data about the Devourer swarm, and she had developed a theory. "Captain," she called out over the noise of weapons fire and maneuvering thrusters, "the Devourers are adapting to our attack patterns, but they're doing it systematically. They're machines, which means they follow predictable learning algorithms." Chen ducked as the ship shook under enemy fire. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "We need to be more unpredictable, more human." Chen understood immediately. She activated the fleet communication channel. "All ships, this is Chen. Abandon formation. Discipline. Execute random tactical maneuvers. Let your instincts guide you." Across the fleet, human captains grinned fiercely as they were given permission to fight the way their species had always fought, with creativity, aggression, and complete disregard for conventional tactics. The destroyer Relentless suddenly accelerated directly toward Devourer 2, firing every weapon she had in a berserk charge that no sane tactical computer would ever recommend. At the last possible second, Captain Murphy rolled his ship 90 degrees and streaked past the enemy vessel's hull, his point defense systems carving deep scars in the alien metal. The corvette's swift strike used her superior speed to dance between the larger vessels, her captain executing maneuvers that existed only in pilot training simulations and fever dreams. Captain Rodriguez laughed out loud as her ship performed an impossible spiral that brought her weapons to bear on a previously protected section of Devourer 3. But it was the heavy cruiser Indomitable that delivered the killing blow to the first enemy vessel. Admiral Stone had noticed that the Devourer ships were built around massive central cores that housed their primary intelligence matrices. While other species might have tried to systematically disable the vessel piece by piece, Stone took a more direct approach. "All power to forward shields," she commanded. "We're going through them." The Indomitable accelerated directly toward Devourer Prime, her reinforced bow aimed at the enemy's central core. The ancient machine intelligence calculated the probability of this action and concluded it was impossible. No rational being would attempt such a maneuver. Stone was not feeling particularly rational. The human flagship struck the Devourer vessel like a massive bullet, her reinforced hull tearing through layers of alien metal and circuitry. Emergency bulkheads sealed automatically as atmosphere vented into space, but Stone's crew held their positions with grim determination. Deep inside Devourer Prime, systems that had functioned for 50,000 years began to fail as human weapons, tore apart the machine's neural pathways. The ancient intelligence experienced something it had never felt before: fear. As the Indomitable emerged from the other side of the enemy vessel, Devourer Prime exploded in a cascade of energy that lit up the entire Veltar system. The harmony of gratitude in the deep sanctuaries of Veltar, the Keth Mori felt the moment when the first Devourer died. The harmonic disruption caused by the machine's destruction created ripples through their planet's atmospheric layers, but these were ripples of liberation, not destruction. Elder Zethara's crystalline form blazed with hope as she watched the impossible battle unfold above. These strange newcomers fought with a ferocity that defied comprehension, their vessels moving like living predators rather than mere machines. "Elder," Ythmoraean whispered. "What are they?" "They are the Deathworlders," Zethara replied, her internal light pulsing with awe. "The children of the killing world. They have come to save us." The remaining two Devourer vessels attempted to adapt to human tactics, but they were fighting an enemy that thrived on chaos and unpredictability. Every time the machines adjusted their defensive patterns, the humans would do something completely unexpected. Captain Chen found herself in a close-range duel with Devourer 2, her ship dodging between the massive vessel's weapon emplacements while her crew targeted critical systems. It was Torres who spotted the opportunity. "Captain, their power coupling is exposed on the ventral surface. If we can get underneath them—" "Do it," Chen commanded. The Resilience dove beneath the enemy vessel like a shark attacking from below, her weapons carved deep into the Devourer's power systems, causing cascading failures throughout the ship. Within minutes, the second ancient machine was drifting powerless through Veltar's atmosphere. The final Devourer attempted to retreat, but the human fleet pursued relentlessly. Captain Rodriguez's corvette delivered the killing blow, her missiles striking the enemy's engine core and triggering an explosion that could be seen from the planet's surface. New alliances, as the last echoes of battle faded, the human fleet regrouped in Veltar's upper atmosphere. Around them, the surviving Keth Mori cities began to emerge from their hiding places in the deeper atmospheric layers. Dr. Vasquez worked frantically to establish communications with the survivors, her translation protocols finally achieving real-time conversation capability. When the first Keth Mori transmission came through, her eyes filled with tears. "They're singing," she whispered to Captain Chen. "The whole planet is singing a song of gratitude." The melody that filled the Resilience's communication system was unlike anything the humans had ever heard. It was complex and beautiful, carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate directly with the listener's emotions. Even the most hardened crew members found themselves moved by the alien song. Admiral Stone's voice cut through the music. "All ships, we have incoming hyperspace signatures. Federation vessels approaching." Chen checked her sensors. A dozen Federation ships were dropping out of hyperspace at the system's edge, their energy signatures identifying them as members of the Galactic Council's enforcement fleet. "Perfect timing," Stone said dryly. "They arrived just as the shooting stops." The Federation ships moved into a containment formation around the human fleet, their weapons powered but not targeted. A communication channel opened, carrying the pompous voice of Federation Admiral Krelthane. "Human vessels, you are in violation of galactic law. You will surrender immediately and submit to Federation custody." Stone's response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that both the Federation and the Keth Mori could hear her words. "Admiral Krelthane, this is Admiral Stone of the Human Defense Force. We responded to a distress call from a dying civilization while your Federation debated politics. We eliminated the Devourer swarm that your forces were apparently unable or unwilling to face. She paused, her voice hardening. The Kethmori are now under human protection. Any attempt to interfere with their recovery efforts will be considered an act of aggression. The Federation Admiral's reply crackled with outrage. You cannot simply declare a species under human protection. The Galactic Council will never accept. The Galactic Council, Stone interrupted, abandoned these people to die. We saved them. I think that gives us certain rights in this matter. Elder Zathara's voice suddenly joined the conversation, her translated words carrying the authority of her entire civilization. Federation Admiral, my people formally request membership in the Human Alliance. We reject Federation oversight and place ourselves under the protection of the Deathworlders. The communication channel fell silent. In the history of the Galactic Federation, no species had ever voluntarily chosen human protection over Federation membership. The new paradigm 6 months later, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Veltar Defense Station, watching human and Kethmori technicians work together to install the latest defense systems. The partnership between the two species had proved remarkably fruitful. Human military technology combined with Kethmori harmonic engineering was producing innovations that neither species could have achieved alone. Dr. Vasquez joined her at the viewport, carrying a tablet full of research data. The cultural exchange has been incredible, she said. The Kethmori are teaching us about harmonic physics, and we're teaching them about defensive strategies. Did you know they've never had a word for war in their language? They do now, Chen replied grimly. Yes, but they're learning it in the context of protection rather than conquest. They understand that humans fight to defend, not to destroy. Through the transparent aluminum, they could see the Kethmori cities floating serenely through Veltar's atmosphere, their crystalline structures now reinforced with human-designed shield generators. The planet sang again, but now its song included new harmonies, the sound of defiance, of courage learned from their human protectors. Captain, Torres called from behind them. We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Chen turned to face her communications officer. What's the content? Torres grinned. 7 more species have formally requested human protection in the last week. It seems word is spreading about what happened here. Chen looked back at Veltar, where human ships patrolled alongside newly constructed Kethmori vessels. The galaxy was changing. For centuries, humanity had been isolated, feared, and dismissed as dangerous primitives. Now they were becoming something else entirely. Protectors of the weak, defenders of the innocent. The Deathworlders had found their true calling, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Stone's words from that first day echoed in Chen's mind. Let's go save some aliens. They had, and they would do it again.